Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, be sure to click that subscribe button down below. Be sure to like this video once you get through here. A little bit about me is I'm a professional ethical hacker. I run a company called Nmap Technologies. Penetration testing is what I do full time, but also do YouTube on the side just to help people learn and gain new skills. So today we're starting off, it's going to be with a box. It's on TryHackMe. This is a free box that's on here. It's called Basic Penetration Testing. It's by John Hammond. If you're not familiar with John Hammond, if you're new, be sure to go check him out on YouTube as well. He has great content and he works for Huntrust. So we'll jump right in. We're going to be inside TryHackMe. Like I said, this is a free room, so feel free to jump in and follow along. You'll have to join the room. Like you'll see a little green tab that says join this room. You'll click on that to get started. And there's a video that you can do, kind of a walkthrough as well, which is kind of what this video is, but just trying to help people get their feet wet in the side of like cybersecurity and ethical hacking. So once you get in here, you'll see a button that says start machine, which mine's grayed out because I already started, but you'll click on that, wait on your machine to come up. If you're using TryHackMe's attack box, you can click here, start attack box. That will open up a virtual machine on their side that's Kali Linux, and it'll have all the tools and stuff you need as well. I have a premium account, so I connect through my own OpenVPN configuration, so I can connect straight to the machine and use my own build of a Kali Linux machine to do these challenges and things. So it says this is a basic penetration testing box. Honestly, if you're new, this will be extremely hard to you. I remember the first time I ever done this box, like I struggled. Like I had to look up some hints and things too, because it's not just as simple as I think it would be for beginners. So kind of jump in. It says in this set of tasks you'll learn the following, which is brute forcing, hash cracking, service enumeration, and Linux enumeration. Again, it says it's beginner, but I feel like it's a little more advanced than that. So the first thing you want to do is you want to deploy the machine, connect to your network. Once you do that, you'll hit check. You'll see that it gives you the questions correct. Then you'll find the service exposed by the machine. We're going to do this by running Nmap. And then we're going to look for the name of the hidden directory on the web server and enter the name without the /. We'll be using, I think, GoBuster or Dirbuster. Either one will do that for you. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump into my terminal here. And a lot of times you'll see people doing these boxes. They'll make a directory just for the box they're working on, and that's fine. If you want to do that, you'll just do mkdir. And we'll call this Basic Pentest. Click enter. ls, you'll see that Basic Pentest is right here on my box or on my machine. So I'll change into that directory, doing cd basic, then you'll tab it autocomplete for you. So now that we're in here, we can go ahead and kind of start off with, like I said, a basic Nmap scan. Go ahead and get this pulled up here. So with Nmap, you can do kind of just a plain Jane Nmap scan, but on these boxes, when you're doing like CTFs and things, or TryHackMe, you can run a -A, which stands for aggressive. And if you're looking to learn more about Nmap, I have a full Nmap course on my website. It's courses.cybermat.tech. And through the rest of this month, it is only $9.99. It's over 3.5 hours of content and quizzes and stuff involved there, and it'll teach you everything you need to know and then some about Nmap. So I'll put a link to that course below for you guys. So we're going to do -A, and then we're going to run it against our IP address that it gives us here. So copy that. Paste this in. You can right click and paste, or you can do Control-Shift-V on Linux to add this in here. And we'll speed it up. I'm going to do a -T. We'll do a T. I'll do T4. T5 will work fine too, but T4 is still fast and does perfectly fine that way. So with this -A command, it's going to run it against the top 1000 ports, unless you specify like all ports against this box. And with the -A, it's going to run like your OS version and your basic scripts that's going to run against it too as well, that are built into the NSE scripting engine in Nmap. You'll see that that is already back, so that was pretty fast. And it took 18.5 seconds. So we'll scroll up here. You'll see that we got port 22, port 80, 139, 445, 8009. You'll see port 8080 is also open. You can see that's an Apache Tomcat server there. And you'll see port 80 is also an Apache server. It says it doesn't have a title. So you can go out to these web addresses with that. So say you have this IP. You just go to your browser, put in that IP address, and we can do port 80. You see just undergoing maintenance, please check back later. We can also check that port 8080 that we've seen from our Nmap scan. You see Apache Tomcat, just a basic kind of website here as well. So if we go back to port 80, something that you want to look at sometimes when you're looking at a web page that you've landed on is you'll do a right click and do your page source. See if you see anything here, and you'll see this. It says check our dev note section if you need to know what to work on. So this tells me there's probably a section labeled dev at some place. So we'll need to look into that here in a second. Anytime you're looking, if you see things like this that are commented out, like with this green, that's a good thing to look at. Sometimes developers will put in credentials to their website and stuff in here, and they'll forget to take those out. So that runs the capability of you able to find credentials and get into a website or a server on the back end. So we can close this page source out. See the services that we have found, open ports. So now we'll run GoBuster against this machine just to see if we can find any kind of directories that we haven't found, such as like a -admin or /admin or users or something along those lines. So to use that, we're going to do GoBuster, and we're going to do directory -w/user, and we're going to do share. This is just where I'm going to pull my word list from. This is built into Kali. So we'll do directory list, word list. I don't want derb, I want to do directory list. That is not auto completing. Oh, I know why. So after share, dirbuster, word list, then directory -list, and as things 2.3, I'm going to do this medium text just to start off. If I don't find anything with it, then we can always go back and change it and use a different word list that we find. And then this -u is going to be our URL, is http / and then our IP address of 10.65.180.249, which is the IP address of the machine that we're going against. So once we have that in, we'll go ahead and click enter to start that off. You'll see that it takes off and it starts scanning. You see that we've already found directories called development. Got a 301, which is a redirect. So we'll go ahead and go look at this development. So you'll take this, you can copy it, paste it right here on the end. See what we find. Okay, you see that we have dev.txt and we got j.txt. So we can click on these to open them up. You'll see that we have dev.txt. Says I've been messing with that strut stuff and it's pretty cool. I think it might be neat to host this on that server too. Haven't made any real web apps yet, but I've tried the example to get show off it works, and it's the REST version of the example. Oh, right now I'm using version 2.5.12 because the other versions were giving me trouble. -k SMB has been configured. -k got Apache set up. We'll put it in our content later. -j. So this may be something you want to look at, looking at a version if you're looking for vulnerability, depending on the version of software that you're going up against. That's a usual case. You can check that through like exploit DB. You open another window or another tab. And like whatever version you were looking for, like say you had SMB version blah blah blah, you could type that in, which I don't think the 2.12 would give us like anything right off the bat. So let's see, 2. Yeah, I don't pull anything, but if you had just like SMB in a version that would pull, and you can use exploit database to look at exploits that's been loaded up. The ones with the checks are the ones that's better. They've been validated and verified, so you'd have a better chance of these working, these exploits that you look up. Okay, so we've seen that, so let's go back and see what this j.txt is. So I've been auditing contents, the Etsy shadow, make sure we don't have any weak credentials, and I was able to crack your hash really easily. You know our password policy, please follow it, change password ASAP. So J apparently is using a weak password, whoever J is, and this is coming from K. So we know we have a J, we have a K, but we don't have an actual username that we can kind of test against yet. So something that we can do against this is run an enum for Linux, which we can try to enumerate users that is on this system against computers, see if we can find any usernames, and then we can use something like Hydra to try to crack their password to get in, which I think is the route we're going to go. So let me go back. Development file, and this is just the parent directory. This is just showing what's in this folder here. So go back, see if we find anything else. Nope, still just on development. I think it's the only thing it recovers on this if I remember correctly, so I'm just going to go ahead and Control C to stop that. Since we found development. Something you can also check, sometimes people look at what's called robots.txt, and the reason you do this too is to see what they're disallowing for a web crawler to look at. They don't have any here, so sometimes you'll see a website will have disallow/admin or whatever. That means that directory exists, but they don't want Google's crawlers trying to find that and indexing that website. They want it kind of to remain hidden. So we'll do Control L, clear this off just a little bit. Like I said, we're going to do enum for Linux, just to try to enumerate the users that are on that machine. Here we'll do 10.65.180.249. Again, that's the IP address of the machine we're attacking. Start that. Let it run. It usually runs pretty quick. So you see it does quite a bit of work. Here it's finding users, found SSIDs, login username. Just waiting to see what it finds. We can kind of scroll through and look what else we have. You see that the password complexity is disabled. Minimum password length is only 5 characters. So that's not many at all. Maximum password age 37 days. Found domains basic 2, built in. Password policy, mapping. Map shares is anonymous share. IPC, these usually doesn't work out to anything. This IPC with a $sign, it's usually nothing, but sometimes you'll find SMB shares that have people's like photos and things on there that are wide open, not password protected. You can log in and see those and download them or delete them, and then sometimes you'll see a lot of the WannaCry attacks go against SMB servers like that to encrypt people's photos and things so that they can't get to them without paying to get the password from the hacker. And we're still running, waiting on it to enumerate any users that it finds. So we'll just kind of hang out and wait on that to finish and see what we get. Alright, as you can see, it's starting to find some local users. We see the name of K, and we see the name of Jan. So I'm assuming the K that we seen on this .txt file over here was for K, and then this J stands for Jan. And if you remember from a few minutes ago, we found the note that said Jan's password was really weak and needed to be changed. So don't know if she's changed it yet or not. You also see Ubuntu user, Ubuntu, so that's probably a built-in one that would be hard to get into as well. But we'll try to go against this Jan user, see if we can't crack her password, and then we'll use Hydra for that, see if we can get into it. We're going to use the RockU list that's built into Kali Linux. If you've done any kind of brute force and hack or anything using Kali, I'm sure you're aware of RockU.txt, but there are several word lists out there that you can use. Normally with TryHackMe, RockU.txt pops the passwords and things that they have built in for their test machines and CTFs and things. So we're going to be using a tool called Hydra. I also have videos on Hydra on my channel if you guys want to check it out. I think I have 2 Hydra videos on there that go a little more in depth. That'll teach you more about it if you want to check it out for any kind of like web hacking or anything like that. Will be Jan. We're going to do a lowercase l because we're using a single name. If we had a username word list, we would do a capital L, and then we would do the location, the file location of that word list for the admin user. Next we'll do a -P. You'll see that we have user/layer word list RockU.txt. So we're doing P because we're doing a password list versus just a single password. So that'll run against that. And then we're going to do it as SSH because we seen port 22 open when we were doing our Nmap scan. So we'll do SSH, and that is going to be against 1065 180.249. Something you could do too, instead of always typing out this IP address, you can update your etc host file inside your Kali Linux machine and just assign a name to that IP address, and you could just type the name in. But I just do the numbers. I think it's easier for people to see it that way instead of trying to complicate things in the beginning stages. Like I said, this is more set for beginners, just to kind of learn different tricks and trades and some methodology that you would use like in the real world to get you through. So we'll go ahead and get this started going. And Hydra will run through all these different passwords against that username and against that IP address to see if they can gain access. Okay, you can see that it finally come back and see that we did crack Jan's password. Password is Armando or Armando, depending on how you pronounce it. So now that we have this, we should be able to try to SSH into this machine using Jan's credentials and see if we can kind of do any like privilege escalation from there to maybe gain root of the machine or maybe find Kay's account or something along those lines. So we'll go ahead and we'll try to log in. And I'm going to clear the screen here. Do Control L, and it just moves everything up. So if you still want to scroll up, you can still see where you're at. But this puts you at the top to give you like more real estate to work with on here. So now I'm going to use the tool. Well, I'm going to log in first. So let's do that. Let's do Jan, or SSH Jan at 10.65.180.249. Yes. I'll prompt for a password, and it was Armando. And you'll see that we are now logged in as Jan into this machine at 10.65.182.249, which is the machine that we are attacking. So Control L. Let's do a ls, just a list to see what contents we have, if any. Nothing here. Let's do ls-la. Okay. Let's see what permissions that she has. Doing sudo-l. Password Armando. Yep, just typed it. Wait on the command. Armando. So we see that Jan may not run sudo on anything, so she don't have any kind of privileges to run any kind of commands to run it as an administrator or sudo or as root. So if we do IP, we do A, and you can see that we are on that networking machine that we've SSH'd into. Okay, with that, let's open up another terminal here. Now we're going to use this tool that's called linps. And with linps, we're going to use it to see what we can find on that machine that we're going against, to see if we can find any kind of like RSA keys or anything like that, or any methods or routes that we can take to do privilege escalation as far as getting above what Jan has. We can also do pwd, see where we're at. We'll see where we're home in Jan. We can do a change directory, go up, we can ls, see that we have K, try to change into K's directory, ls. You'll see that we have a pass.back file, which is usually pretty good. That's usually a password kept file. We could probably try to cat that. And we see that we don't have permission, so that's telling us that that's probably protected by K, I would imagine. So it's ls-la. And pass.back. Yeah, owned by K, and it's only read and write by the owner. No other privileges for a group or any other users. So then you'll see that she has sudo as admin, so she has admin privileges on K's. So we need to see if we can get into K's account. So let me go back to my other terminal. Like I said, we're going to be using linps. I think I have it on this machine. Let me see. Change my alt folder. And yes, I have linps. Okay. So I thought that it did, so let me change into that directory. ls again. You see we have linps.sh. Now what I need to do is I need to copy this linps.sh from my attacking machine to the victim machine so that I can execute it on that victim machine. Because I can't do it from here against that machine. It actually has to be on the machine you're attacking. So with that, I'm going to do OSCP, which is secure copy. And we'll do that to Jan's username. And we'll put it in her development/SHM folder. You can also do this to a temp folder as well. And we'll do 10.65.180.249. We'll click enter on this. And it should ask us for her password again. And again, this was the Armando. Click enter on that. Okay, you'll see that it copied over. So let's go back to the machine that we're on, that we're attacking against. And we'll change directory. And we'll go back to Jan's. And then we'll do her dev file and her SHM. So let's do go back /Jan dev. Let's see where we're at here. Dev ls bb home Jan. Do dev folder SHM. Start on that. List that out again. You'll see that we now have our linpeas.sh on here. So we should be able to run that on this machine to see what linpeas uncovers. So we'll go ahead and try to run this. We'll do linpeas.sh. Let that kick off and let it run. On linpeas, it tells you, kind of like the legend, red and yellow, it's 95% a PE vector. PE stands for privilege escalation vector. Red, you should take a look at it. Light sign, users with console. Blue, users without console and mounted devs. Green is just common things like users, groups, SUD or SGID, mounts, scripts, so forth. Red, yellow, and red is the ones that you really want to pay attention to. So we'll let this run through, and then once this is done, we'll kind of come back and we'll look at it together. Okay, as you can see, as we're looking through some of this feedback that we've gotten from the linpeas, try to start here at the bottom because it's a lot of information that comes off. So I know it looks overwhelming, and it can be easily overwhelming. So if we're done, yep, finally done running. Alright, so like I said, looking for red and yellow, or sometimes you're looking for your RSA like private keys, because with that we're going to use another tool that's called John the Ripper. And sometimes you can use John the Ripper to crack these RSA files if they're password protected. And sometimes you get the password. You can use that to log in as another user using SSH. So let's just kind of scroll through, look and see what we have. Readable, search and passwords. Backup files, backup folders. Files inside others' homes, so you can see kind of the files that Kay has access to here, especially this pass.bak back. So that might be something to look at too as well. In the meantime, we're going through, I guess we should answer some of these questions here on TryHackMe. Let's see. We enumerated services. Name of the hidden directory we found, that was development. Use brute force and username and password. We done that with Jan. What was the username? Jan. Password was Armando. So what service did you use to access the server? We done SSH, which was secure shell. Find any vectors for privilege education. That's what we're doing now. Name of the other user you found. We found K when we done enum for Linux. What can you do with this information? You found another user. Again, we're going to try to privesc. So the only thing we need to do is find the final password you obtain. Okay. So let's go back to our terminal. See unexpected en route. SH files. Hack tricks. That's a good website for you guys to check out as well. I actually have this here open. Let's open a new tab. Kind of show you it. Once it loads. So it's a good resource. Like if you're saying pen testing a network, you can pick different things. It'll have different things to run, different things to try. It has like stuff for cross-site scripting as well. Kind of make it easier on you. Let's see, generic. You have a brute force cheat sheet. Things you can go through, create your own dictionary. So It's an excellent website to check out again, guys. Again, it's called Hack Tricks. So I don't need that right now. And get back to the terminal. So like I said, I'm looking for maybe like an RSA key for K so that we can try to use John the Ripper against it. Because if I remember correctly, I think it's password protected. So has been a little while since I've done this box, but it's a good one for people to start with. Like I said, beginner friendly, you know, I don't agree with that 100% because there's a lot of tools involved and stuff that you haven't been exposed to if you're just starting. So, TMUG, see, share SSD configuration, possible private SSH keys were found. So it did find one for K, looks like. And I think this is it. Yep. So you will want to copy this RSA private key that you find here. And you can just do like a quick highlight. And you want to go through the end of it. This. Right click. You can copy. I like to use a program called Mousepad to do it. You can also do this in Nano. I just prefer Mousepad. It's more of like a GUI interface, like graphical user interface compared to versus Nano, and it just seems more user-friendly to me to do that, personally. I mean, everybody's different, but that's what I like. We'll use Mousepad. We're going to make this K_ID_RSA, which is the file we found in linps. Look at on that. We're going to paste that in here. Okay, so we have that. We want to click Save. Close this out. We're going to change the permissions on that so that it's a read-only, because that's what it's expecting to see when we go to use this file. Okay, right, okay, Control-L, SH. We'll try to log in with that file that we just made. Okay, you'll see that it's asking for the passphrase, which means that her RSA is password protected. We don't know what that password is, so we're going to use John the Ripper to crack the password so that we can get in with that, or attempt to crack the password. So we'll Control-C out of this. So in order to use John the Ripper to crack this, you have to get this file ready to be used by John. So we'll just do SSH to John, because we're going to do SSH, log in with the RSA. We'll just call this, let's do John K. We'll be fine. You can label this whatever you want to, as long as you know what it is, what you're looking for. So ls, we should see that file there, yep, johnk.txt. Now with that, we're going to use John, like I said, to go ahead and crack this. We're going to use the same word list that we used before. We're going to use rocku to run against this. So we're going to do johnk.txt. Then we're going to do -- word list equals, we're going to use rocku against /user /share word list and rocku. And autocomplete these guys, I'm just hitting tab just for sake of speed. Let's click enter on that. Give it just a second. Okay. You'll see that it cracked the password or the passphrase for K's IDRC file, and you'll see that it's beeswax. So now that we have that, we should be able to log in to K's SSH like we did a second ago when it asked for the passphrase. So we'll go back, log in. We'll do beeswax. Okay, you'll see that we are now K at this IP address. If we ls-la, we can see all of her files. We can go ahead and try to cat out this pass.back to see if that's where our password is. Let's go do cat pass.back. Then here you'll see, here are really strong passwords. Here's a really strong password that follows the password policy with 2 $signs at the end. So we can just copy this. Go back to our TryHackMe box here. Final password you obtain, we'll paste that in there. Click check. And that's great. We've completed the pen testing box. So if you followed along this far, you should have been able to complete the box. If you have any questions, comments, be sure to put those down below. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe.